Hey folks, thank you for watching this video. Today, I'm going to talk to Anish, who's the co-founder of the Good Harvest School in Uttar Pradesh, and it's in district Unnao. The school is in a rural village in that district. So we're going to talk to Anish about the school, his program, and a new initiative that they're launching. But before we start, just to level set, since he's in a rural area, there could be possibly some interruptions in the video. So bear with us. And thank you. So Anish, how are you doing, first of all?
Thank you so much, Nathan. This is a wonderful opportunity, and we are doing wonderfully good. After lockdown, the schools have reopened, and we're just excited to be back on the field.
And how's the weather? Is it like getting hot?
It is starting to getting hotter.
Yeah, I know, Indian summers. So, Anish, let's start with before we get into the details of the program. I'm very interested, and also people who might be listening. It's worth to share and talk about your story from the start, right? Because this is not something that you've been doing it. You were in corporate world, like us, and you switched from that. So can you share a little bit about that? That what were you doing before this, and what was that year, around what time frame, and what happened? A couple of 2-3 minutes. If you can share that story, that would be really.
Sure. So I actually originally from Lucknow, and I did my schooling here. And after my schooling, I moved to Delhi for higher educations, and I started working there. I worked there for 7-8 years. I worked with different agencies. My job was to create commercials and advertisements for different companies. And that's what I did for 7-8 years. In 2013, we decided to move back to Lucknow. And initially, I just wanted to spend some time doing farming. And I didn't have any plans to open the school or help anyone in that manner. So while we were still making plans, I just enrolled myself into different farming workshops, and just to get the grip of what farming is all about, because I don't belong to a farming community, or I don't have a family that is into farming.
So one question.
So for me, yeah, sorry, please go ahead.
Are you saying this part of education and learning about farming, you started doing it while you were at the job, or you left the job and then can you shed some light on that?
While I was at job, I started searching for different things that I could do if I leave advertising. And farming what came to my mind, and I was kind of fascinated with the world, like growing stuff and growing your own food, and just living with the nature kind of a thing. So that's what excited me in the beginning. And while I was working there in Delhi, I just looked different farms, and just studied a little bit what this is all about. And I kind of really liked the idea of having your own land and just growing your own food. But in 2013, we made a final decision that we had to go back if I want to do farming at all, because it can't be just remotely done. So that we took a decision in 2013, and I spent next 2 years just learning and doing whatever I could to grow. So we didn't have a land as such. I came back from Delhi, and I started looking for a land that I could buy eventually. We found a land, and it is we are still here. It's located near a beautiful river and a beautiful village nearby.
What is the name of the river?
Sorry?
What is the name of the river?
The river is called Sai River, SAI River.
So does it flow all the year? Does it flow all the year? Does it flow through all the year, or?
It does,
Mm.
and it also connects with the Ganges.
Oh,
So
wow.
that's yeah. So
Okay.
it's kind of a holy river in that sense. Yeah, but
So how did you
when I
move from that farming? Because I think, because now you're running that school. So how did how did that happen? Was that always in your mind, back of your mind, that looks like even farming was not, something that you already, like it was one of the options you really liked and you went for it, as you switched from corporate jobs. But then how did it move from that, growing food for yourself and then opening a school, and then maybe, like as you talk about that, just also share about what the school is about. Yeah.
sure. Um, so it's an interesting journey, not from very outside way, but internally, I changed a lot.
Hmm.
What I had in my mind earlier. So when we came back from Delhi, I started meeting with a lot of farmers, and that kind of affected me in a different manner. I got to realize that what are their problems, and what do they face every day, and how farming is not very what it seems to be from outside.
Hmm.
So the struggles and the markets and the crops, the problems with animal husbandry,
Hmm.
the cruelty part of it, and so everything. It may look like from outside that it's a very peaceful world and
Hmm.
people are happy, but internally the system and the people are broken, whether we call it from financial point of view
Hmm.
or physical point of view.
Hmm.
So everything that kind of it took me a lot of time to grasp that what actually happens on the ground. So when we started working with the farmers, we thought that giving them seeds or equipping them with different workshops or helping them in different manners could help them. But after 2 years of journey, we realized that the very basic thing, the ability to think critically or logically, and coming up with solutions, they lack those very basic things. And somewhere our education system is it's not really helpful in that manner. They don't really prepare farmers. So they may the education system, they may equip you to become a doctor or engineers, but they don't equip you to become a farmer as such.
Yeah. Yeah.
So we don't read about how to grow your own food in our schools, or
Yeah. I
how
don't think
to.
it's, yeah, you're right. I don't think even when it was never seen as something that's like science. And
True.
uh, uh, I don't know how much you know about it. I mean, I've just read. I read the book called The Startup Nation, and it's about Israel. And because I've read that they have done a lot of innovation in the field of agriculture. Um, that's just reading, could may not be true, but I've heard they're on one of the few countries which is arid, but their forest areas growing with all this advancement and using less water. They've done a lot. And I remember that at the start of the book, I think it was um, Yitzhak Rabin. He used to be the prime minister at some point. He mentions that farming is 90 or something percent science, and rest is
Yeah.
something like that. And that kind of told me, like, I never thought it that way. And that's probably the difference of you know a country or culture who takes things that way, and you see advancement and you see that field blooming. So you're right on that. I never had that mindset or thought of, farming is
Yeah.
something to do with
Especially if you
science.
look at India. Yeah, especially if we look at India, we always been proud to say that we are an agriculture-led
Yeah.
country, and more than 70% of our population is actually dependent on
Yeah.
agriculture. But we never really invested in farmers as
Yeah.
such from the beginning.
Yeah. And
We
most of
we
them, like you
always.
talked about, problem solving skills. And if I think about it, I think most of the schools in rural area are public funding or government schools. Yes, there could be some private schools coming up, but at least that's what I would think. And you're on the ground more, so you may know more. But if those schools are not equipped enough, the kids, the students that's going to come out of it, they will not be equipped to see things and problems as something to be solved, rather than just seeing them as obstacles. An obstacle is something usually we associate as something as negative, right? Rather
True.
than as an opportunity. And even me, like, even though we went through private schools, but the education system doesn't give us that kind of mindset. I think it leaves uh, us as individuals to learn from our own challenges. And then, most of the times people just kind of take a step back. There are only far and few who start to think in a positive way, and they would read and they would grasp information and they grow out of these challenges. But not everybody is able to do that because of different circumstances. And especially for people who are underprivileged, it's going to be hard because their first thing
Absolutely.
is, where do I'm going to get the food? So you're right on that. So continue, like, about the Good Harvest School. Like, how did you then connect with the
So when
farmers?
we realized that actually our system is not really equipped to, help farmers, we thought that maybe this is what we need to do.
Hmm.
So what we did in 2016 is we launched our school saying that it's an all girls agriculture based school. We will be teaching all the subjects along with agriculture.
Hmm.
So for example, we focus on language, we focus on mathematics and science, and with equal weightage we give to agriculture.
So
So yeah,
so the school is all girls school, right? So that's
yeah.
what you have focused on. And yeah.
So
And
that's another interesting thing that people often ask us that why all girls?
Mhm,
Don't you think that boys also need it? Or,
mhm,
agriculture has always been a men-led
mhm.
kind of a thing, and why are we focusing too much on girls?
Mhm.
But there are certain reasons that we found out that we actually, if you look at it, right now in India, especially, most of the farm work is actually done by women.
Mm.
And now that we are talking about, especially today, it's an International Women's Day, that makes more sense. Women have been doing a lot of work, sometimes more than men in the farming field. Whether you talk, it's weeding, whether it's all the manual work is involved, whether it's taking care of animals, cows, it's all being done by women.
Yeah, it's
So
it's
I
I
think,
think a lot of the behind the scenes work that doesn't never get the limelight, or maybe
yeah,
light is not you know sh
on them.
on them too much, so that they can come into that limelight. So
Yeah,
you're right on that. As as the um as as we are questioning the patriarchal system,
yeah,
like, and especially if males are trying to understand those issues, you do realize that they do a lot of work which never gets any credit. um
yeah.
be,
Well,
be it be it
just credit,
farming community, but anyone, any
yeah,
woman,
and it's not just
yeah,
giving them proper credit. We also fail to give them proper salaries.
yeah,
The same work is done, if it's done by men, they
yeah,
charge 50% or 100% more than what we pay to women
yeah,
on
you're
the
right. Even
fields.
in even in US, with there's a lot of talk about, probably I could be wrong on the data, but for similar job, a woman leader, or could possibly get 20 or 30% less for the same role, and title, compared to a male. And we're talking about a
Yeah.
developed country, so it's so inherent. So let me ask you this: do you if you have to put a number, do you think you can put a number or guess, like, how many farmers are currently impacted positively with the work that you're doing, or maybe engaged through the work that you're doing Could be farmer or families,
Yeah. So we've been directly associated with more than 50 families
Wow.
with our work.
Hmm.
And it's not just their family. We
Hmm.
also have reached out to their uncles and aunties.
Okay.
And we've been catering to 6 villages right now.
Wow.
That's where we've been regularly visiting or doing our work. Um, so
When
that's
you say doing your work, what is that like? Give me in a minute or two, like what your day-to-day routine looks like.
how it. So primarily, we are a school. We teach young girls
Hmm.
between 4 years and 14 or 15 years of age.
Hmm.
Our task is to equip them with reading and writing
Hmm.
and thinking, and whatever academics they required for that
Hmm.
age, we
Hmm.
complete that. And along with that, we also give them vocational training in
Hmm.
hands-on experience on agriculture.
Hmm.
um, and not just agriculture, we also help them, for example, management skills and different skills that they
Hmm.
require in the future.
Hmm.
So we focus on the complete overall development of their education.
Got
um,
it.
what we do
Um,
primarily, and secondly, what we focus on is their on emotional needs.
mhm,
So I'm not sure that how much you know about Unnao, but it's not really a great place for girls to be around.
mhm.
So a lot of bad news or unfortunate incidents keep happening in
Yeah,
Unnao.
yeah.
And, we are in a place where girls are really not respected
Mhm,
for who they are.
mhm,
So that's what our concern is. If we are able to somehow impact their lives and make
mhm,
them empowered,
mhm.
I think our job is done.
Got
We
it.
have to like, give them equal opportunities and give them proper education so that they can be independent and they can take decisions in their lives. So that's what we do with the school. And apart from the school, what we do is we spend times with their families and people who are interested in agriculture. So
Mhm,
we create agriculture models for them. We help them with better seeds. We help
mhm,
them with if they require any collaborations, we help them with that as well.
mhm.
So that's how we have been associated with farmers.
Okay. So I think let's that's about the school. And and I know we have been in touch about the new program that you're launching,
Yeah,
the Farmer at Heart, right?
yeah.
So how did that idea come upon? What was there a need? Um, and what is the basic framework, of that idea? Like what are you trying to get done through it? Like why? I think I'm very interested in that. So can you share something on that?
So let me just tell you that what a Farmer at Heart project is all
Mhm,
about. So what we are doing with this project is we are allowing people from all over the world to come and farm with us.
mhm,
There's absolutely a beautiful opportunity for everyone to do create a farming model or prototype
mhm,
with us. What we are doing is that we are giving a piece of land.
mhm,
Uh, let's say if you want to start an agri business, whether you have an idea of your own
mhm,
or you just have an initial thought about it, but you don't know how to develop it. So we'll develop it for you and we'll do the farm work on ground on your behalf. And you will be benefited from it because all the profits will eventually go to you.
mhm,
So it's a win-win situation for you and for us as well because we're charging a small fee against that land. So with that fees, what we're doing is that we are running the school
mhm,
so that the school can be self-sustainable. It can be we don't have to dependent on external donations as such. So it's a beautiful model. It's so far it's been doing very wonderfully well. We already got like 10 clients with
oh
us,
wow,
different
that is
models. For
awesome.
example, so a couple of guys in
So let
US
me
and
ask you
some
this. Let's do a mock-up. So
sure.
let's say I'm interested in doing that.
Yeah.
So how would it work? I go to your website, and
Yeah.
you have your contact information, email or phone, and people can reach you through both the
Yeah.
channels, right?
Yeah.
So I call you, I contact you, and I have no clue, let's say, about farming, and I tell you,
Sure.
hey, Anish, I want to grow strawberries. I don't know if that you can grow that. So like one could be like something that you already grow and it can be done, and other could be so you guide the person on that, right? So like, will it work or will it not work, right? um
Yeah. So what
and
we do is that we have a team of experts with us
mhm,
because we've been associated with a lot of uh, institutions, whether it's
mhm,
government or private, and universities,
mhm.
and people who have been already doing farming for more than decades.
Got it.
Um, so they've been helping us all this while to draft the curriculum for the school, and now they're helping us with this project as well.
Mhm,
So what we do, let's say that you are interested and you have no idea that what you want to do as
mhm,
such, but you said that I do want to fancy growing strawberries. So
mhm.
what we'll do is that we'll come up with a project for you that will somehow. So for example, we can grow strawberries here as well.
Okay, so
Just so we,
I was trying to pick
yeah.
something that you would say, oh, you can't grow this, so let me try. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So let's say even if let's say just thinking about aloud that you think that something has not been we cannot grow it here.
Yeah,
So what we do, we come up with a different plan for you that
yeah,
you can replicate anywhere else in the world.
yeah.
But what we'll do is that we'll give you the land and we'll work on your project and we'll produce stuff for you, and we'll also giving you a facility to sell that product on
Mhm.
your behalf, and so that you can ultimately make profit out of it. So it's not just learning that is happening, that's also a profit that you'll be making
And
if everything goes well.
and Anish, like when you talk about profit, so do you already have some range of estimate if somebody's saying, okay, I'm gonna get, just putting an X square foot of land and I want to grow potatoes.
Yeah.
So for X square foot, you tell him this is going to be your renting charge and whatever, like I don't know if there are other costs associated, but whatever
Yeah.
that Y is going to be your cost that you pay to us. Would you upfront tell him that, okay, based on what you know about potatoes, that, okay, this could be your range of profit? And we know, in all businesses, there's always a range. Nobody can tell because everything changes, right?
True.
Or it's more like, let's produce it, and when we sell it, we'll just get to know by then. Like, so how does it?
So first, what we do is that we interview our clients,
Mhm,
and we understand their mindset, whether they are
mhm,
in, whether they are seeing it as an investment point of
mhm,
view, or they're just in here for learning point of view. So, for example, if you are
mhm,
very particular about that, you want returns,
mhm,
and you want like say X amount of returns on your
mhm,
investment,
mhm.
then we plan a different model for you. Then we
Got it.
might not go for a low cash crop kind of a thing. We suggest multiple cropping, or we move to
I'm,
animal husbandry.
I'm laughing because it reminds that you're like, when somebody goes to like brokerage for investing, they say, okay, they ask him, oh, do you want to be moderate, conservative, what kind of return you want? They do that. But that's good. See, we have to learn models from elsewhere to apply to this. Only then we can innovate, because at the end of the day, a lot of these things are run, or the motive is economics and revenue, right? um,
True.
because maybe not for the person who's, there could be people who could be just doing this for making the school sustainable, but still at the end of the day, the farmer who's going to work on it, he needs to be paid. So money is eventually involved, and then money is involved for the sole reason of this program to enable the school to become self-sustainable. So I like that part where you kind of we are taking approaches from other businesses to make this also
Yeah.
more economically viable. Okay.
Yeah. So one thing we are very clear about it, this project is about creating models that could work on the ground.
Mhm,
So for example, if out of 10 projects or 2 projects work really good and they
mhm,
give you good returns, we
mhm.
can it also works as a case study for us.
Got it.
And we can always give these models to different farmers who are in need.
Mhm,
Um, so for example, so that's a very good thing about running the entire different prototypes here. We'll get to know the real picture of different businesses types. So that's why we are taking it very from a business perspective.
got it.
We want, so for example, if you invest with us or you take a land with us, um, you will only continue with us if you make little profit,
Mhm.
or at least you don't lose your money.
Yeah, got it.
Uh,
Makes sense.
yeah, so that's why you'll turn back next year with us. Otherwise, you won't really
Yeah,
turn back.
yeah,
So that's the reason we want to we are very keen on making profits on every model. Whether it's big money or small money, that's a different thing. That
yeah,
depends on the investor.
yeah,
So first, you're right. Some people do not want profit at all. So
yeah,
they just think that whatever profit we make,
yep,
just donate it back to the
yep,
school.
yeah,
So they're just in for the learning part, or they want their kids to explore farming. So that's just purely learning point of view.
yeah. But
But
I
even there, we want actually models to make some money, or at least hit the no profit no margin kind of a thing,
yeah,
uh, where you don't get discouraged about farming.
yeah,
Um, the idea is to give confidence to people to invest in agriculture.
yeah,
The idea is to come up with different models that can
yeah.
work on the ground. So that's where we are at right now. We're
And
creating
I'm
different
thinking
models.
also, like you mentioned about case studies, and then seeing uh, for what produce the market is really booming. It could change by seasons. It could change by, based on how the weather is, or it could also change based on, how the eating patterns of people are changing. Like we now start to see the vegan movement is on the rise, right? I don't know how much it is in India, but it is,
It
right?
is.
It is. So like, like, so based on that, and I think with all the um, pace of the life is changing, those changes are going to be very rapid. So like, it's going to be interesting, like you mentioned, case studies, what works, what doesn't, where you get more profit, because eventually at the end of the day, the farmer has to get that profit on what he invests so that he can sustain his livelihood in a decent manner. Yeah.
Yeah.
And could be possible, if we are talking about a crop which is very much in demand, it could be, more profits. But yeah, learning from that. But I think the most important piece for the school, I hear, is making the school self-sustainable by getting that money in, not just as a donation, but where people kind of are investing into the school and also generating some profits for themselves, but also
Yeah.
investing into the school, which means investing in the future of those kids and those families, and also the
Yeah.
farming community. Yeah.
Yeah.
uh
So particularly what we just to add on this, we want our school to be self-sustainable,
mhm,
because when we say or talk to different farmers that and pursue them to tell them convince them basically to do continue to do farming.
mhm.
If there's no money in it,
Yeah,
they might not just do it.
yeah,
And somewhere down the line, we have to prove it
yeah.
by showing it. That we can do it so that you can also do it.
Got it, got it. No, that is all so interesting information. I learned a lot. And just before we leave, so best way to contact you is your website. The phone number is on there. I'll put a link on the recording video. um
Sure.
and any last words as we wrap up the interview? Anything you want to say, or maybe want to tell people that why they should be, really, you know um latching on to this idea or supporting this, because I think if we can connect people with that why, you can make a difference, you know.
Sure. I think one of the things that I always promote or keep saying to different people is that maybe from outside it looks good, but from inside it's might be broken. So we may have to look at things differently. Why I'm saying this is that Indian villages, they may look good from outside. We may see that the enrollment rate in the school is going up, but the system and the kind of teachings that we have, it's not for the people right now. It's not designed for the 21st century. I think we may have to think about bringing agriculture back to the curriculum, and start teaching your kids about the food. And otherwise half of our food is anyways going in the laboratory or building by the companies. I think once we lose the land, we'll lose everything. We have to stick to the land. We have to just continue to believe in farming. That's what that's where the future is also, I guess.
And that's why people should support, because the school is working with the farmers and also working on education, which is so important to lift people out of poverty and also give them a sense of independence, because they can then try to figure out other options if they need to. Otherwise, one is stuck with those jobs which are just at the lowest level of the strata. So thank you.
Actually, we have like around 60 girls with us who've been continuously getting education from us. We're happy to give you more information on that, how we do it, and why are we doing this. So if there's anything else that I'm not being able to answer right now, I just want the viewers to reach me directly, and I'd be happy to take questions there as well.
Definitely, I'll add that link so that people can reach out directly. And
thank you.
I think it's late on your end, so thank you, Anish, for staying up late. And I think I know, because in the villages the day starts early as well.
Yeah. That's okay, brother. Thank
All
you so
right.
much. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Anish. Take care. Bye.
Bye.